around a little bit, look at some different plants and talk about them. And there will be the chance to eat some right on the spot if you want to give that a try. And then I also brought some wild edible foods with me that have been prepared from some of the plants we're going to look at. Any questions so far?
Turkey hen out there.
I saw, oh, there is a turkey. It's hard to see it. It's in the tall grass. Walking through there.
Oh, yeah.
When I came here to scout the site at 1 o'clock, I actually saw a male tom doing a thing, you know. Feathers all out and doing a nice thing. Is this one. This is Boxelder. It has the same, it's in the maple family of trees. It has the same little helicopter, the little wing seeds that maple trees do. And so it often disperses, you know, in strong winds and ends up, and it's not a good tree. People consider it to be kind of a weed tree. It colonizes these disturbed fence rows. And it doesn't even make good firewood. So the typical thing is that when you've got box elder in a fence row, people cut it out. Which on the school outdoor laboratory that I was managing in Milton, that's what by the way, oh, turkey vultures here. In the school outdoor laboratory that I was managing in Milton, I was working on. And we had some big ones. I mean, some that were like this around. And one spring, when I was cutting them, we got about halfway through, and then almost like a waterfall, sap began gushing out of the cut stump. And I later talked to the county forester, who was Mary Ann at the time. We've met Mary Ann out here before. And she said, oh yeah, did you know you can make syrup from those? And I didn't know that. She said, well, yeah, it's a maple. Usually when we think of making syrup, we make it from sugar maple, Acer saccharum. This is Acer negundo. It's the same genus, it's just a different species. So, wow, this was a new project now that I could do with my students. We stopped cutting down the trees, and now in the spring, when it's kind of when winter's ending and spring is coming on, just like you do with the sugar maple, drill a little hole, you put in a little metal tap. We used gallon milk jugs to collect the sap. That was the fun part. And then I did all the work, which was to collect the sap and take it. And I used just canning kettles, like hot water bath canning kettles, open fire and cook it down until eventually you reduce the water out of it and make it into a syrup. Sugar maple, it's 40 to 1. In other words, 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. Box elder is 60 to 1. So it's even a little bit more work. But I discovered, doing a little bit of research, a Native American trick. If you leave the sap out overnight and it freezes, only the water freezes, not the sugar part. So I would go out real early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, before the sun was really even fully up, and there'd be ice partially inside each jug, and I would shake it up just a little bit and then pour it through a strainer. The strainer would catch the ice, and the now concentrated sap, that's what I would take and cook. And that, sometimes I was able to reduce it almost by half, so now I'm down to 30 to 1. So that's even less than doing sugar maple. All right, we're looking at spring woodland wildflowers. This is one of the things to me that's so pleasant about getting out in the spring and walking around through woods. These are what are called wood anemones. Can you say anemone?
Anemone.
People have trouble with it. There's a couple different kinds of anemones. A more common one is the false rue anemone, but this is wood anemone. Out of a ring of leaves, there'll be a single flower that pokes up like that, and sometimes it nods slightly. There are some other anemones, but they all have little white flowers like this. These are what we would call spring ephemerals, as a lot of the other flowers that we're going to look at today are. They come up in the spring before the trees have fully leafed out. They quickly have to flower, get pollinated, produce seed, and then they just kind of die back and melt away because the trees leaf out and now they're in the shade and they really can't get the sun they need to grow. So their whole life cycle is time to early get in spring, get out there while it's still sunny, and produce their seed. And so they are ephemeral, meaning they're not real long. I don't want to say long-lived. Actually, they live for a long time, but their bloom time, the time of growing, is very short. You know your state symbols. We'll start with the easy one. The state bird.
Robin.
Oh, good job. All right. The state fruit. Now it gets a little harder.
Cherry?
Cranberry.
Cranberry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Our state wildlife animal.
Deer?
Badger.
Good. Deer. Our state symbol is the badger. Our state tree.
Sugar maple.
Sugar maple, because of we do produce a lot of maple syrup. And our state wildflower, the violet. The blue wood violet, which is often kind of purplish, but it also comes in other colors. And they're all the same species.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Sometimes it's like this, where it's kind of a pale, it's kind of white with a blue eye. Others will grade all the way to being completely just a light pale blue. Yeah, can you see the difference? It's subtle. This one is more white with the blue eye, and then this one is there's some blue in the petals as well. You can also find ones that are kind of rose colored. There are ones that are white with a red eye. It's all the same species. It's all the wood violet, is just different color forms.
We have yellow ones in our woods.
Now there's another species, a different one.
Okay.
I think we can find some yellow violet. That's called the downy violet.
Okay.
That's a different species. But these and the purple ones are the same. If you are brave, this is the part we talked about back down there. You can do this. Want to try one?
Very sweet.
Well, what do you mean? You can't ask what does it taste like. You gotta try. Buddy?
You need more.
It has no flavor.
Here, did you get one with a flower?
I just ate one like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the whole thing.
It's just
There's a
so.
little hint of sweetness. You get a little bit of the nectar in the flower. They are a real nice way to decorate a salad. You can put them on top of a green salad, have something that's a little bit different. And the garden equivalent? Pansies. Yeah, it's the same genus, Viola. Same genus of plants.
You can make jelly with that too.
So I brought some violet jelly for you to try. There's a couple different kinds of buttercups in the woods. And the smallest, tiniest one of all is this one. Called least buttercup. And that's it. That's as big as the flower gets. It's just a cute, we'll see some up ahead that are much bigger and much more showy. Midsummer, and check to see, because there's quite a good sized patch of them here. If that turns out to be a wood lily, that's really a find. That's a pretty unusual plant. This one here.
You got real spots on the flowers.
Well, that's what we call a tiger lily.
Oh,
Orange,
this is
kind
a
of down
different one.
facing.
Oh,
This
that's
is
a different.
up facing, orange, and it does still have spots on it, but it's bright orange.
How big a flower?
Not quite as big as, say, my hand.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good sized
Oh
flower.
wow, that is huge.
Yeah.
Lily and tiger lily, two different.
There's a couple other plants that have that form. It might not be, but I definitely have to come back and see. That would be. This is a real pretty find. I'm so happy to see this here. This is bellwort, or sometimes people call it marybells. The actual common name is perfoliate bellwort, because the stem perforates the leaves. Can you see it? The stem goes right through. And that's it. That's as much, the flower, you see it like a little yellow bell? That's fully open. It's not going to open or look any more than that. But this is such a pretty, bright yellow patch of them right here. And I don't think I saw them anywhere else other than this one spot in the woods here. So that's another real nice find. Now that you see look at how common this is, in another couple of weeks, this woods is just going to be filled with the wild geranium. And look at this, all in bud. But make sure to come back, walk around
Yes.
another week or two. That's one of the little bit later blooming ones. Mayapple, fall Solomon seal. More violets. All right, so this is the violet jelly. Again, whenever you make anything into jams or jellies, it's a lot of sugar, but it does have a little hint of the flavor. And if you don't want any, that's fine, but if you want to give it a try, that's what this is. So I'll just pass this around, scoop out a little bit for yourself. No double dipping allowed. Next, take a spoon. This is the Boxelder syrup. Okay. So now this will be the hardest part. You got to get this to your mouth without spilling.
Oh
I
boy.
guess the novelty, I don't know anybody else who makes Boxelder syrup. It's a little bit of novelty
That's
to it.
good to know.
So how much did you end up with then?
So I was able, this is one of my best years ever. I made 3 gallons.
Wow.
And I all into jars like this.